You can't ever me. Follow my dreams and made it reality. In and out, I'm barely getting on sleep. This for all of the beside the streets.
Hey beauty cuties, it's your Boss Beauty. Welcome back to another video. On May the 26th, I'm sitting at home, minding my own business, sitting at my desk, and my daughter and her friend walked in. And her friend was already getting on her case about whatever her business is. And then the young lady proceeded to get on me. Now, mind you, I only spoke to this young lady one time about my hairline, nothing else. And so when she started getting on me, she said, and you, whoever you think your husband is not your husband. So I started laughing, really. I was like, girl, what are you talking about? And she repeated that thing about 4 or 5 times. And so I started listening to her. And then she said, yeah, that's not your husband. She said, your husband is a stand-up alpha man, stand-up man. He's righteous. He's alpha. He's this. He's that. And so now I'm getting intrigued because I know last year I had started planning the end of this year that I was going to make myself available for my husband, meaning I was going to mentally get prepared and heal within and physically work on myself so I could look like I want to look, and then it would be just a treat and the icing on the cake for my husband. But everything I was doing was for myself. And so that's what made me start listening. So once I started listening to the young lady, and she was saying my husband was alpha, stand-up man, righteous man, and he was going to know how to put me in my place. Now, I understand y'all really don't know me from the few videos I have on here, but I am a very zero tolerant person. I don't like silly shit. I don't like ignorant shit. And I just have a low tolerance for BS. And so when she said it's going to be able to put me in my place, my then question was, oh, it's going to be someone out there who know how to handle me? And she said, yeah. And she started adjusting her posture. He's going to adjust her posture. And I said, whoa, wait a minute. And she said, no, he's never going to hit you, but he's going to know how to put you in your place. I was like, okay, because I don't go for the DV. And she said, no, he'll never put his hands on you. And she said he was going to be everything I wanted. By the time I thought about record her, it was almost at the end. So I did record like 9 minutes of her speaking. It was just a lot. She told me that I was going to have twins from my husband, twin boys.
I don't care what's in your womb. It's going to look for your womb.
Already, guys.
What's gonna be in my room?
His babies. His
babies.
His babies. His twins. Boys. His twins. That you gonna birth. But he gonna love them babies and nurture them babies.
In that moment, she was touching on things that she shouldn't have known about. Jasmine was giving me all of this information. I had time to think from that day to the next. One thing is, first of all, I don't make myself available to men to access me that freely. God know that. And then that's why I thought he sent Jasmine. So once Jasmine started talking about twins, I'm like, girl, I'm 44 years old. You talking about twins? And she said, yes, you're going to have twins. Now, while Jasmine is talking to me and she hitting some places that she shouldn't have known about, she's saying things she shouldn't have known about, my first mind said, prophet, right? And while she was telling me these things, she said under her breath, I'm tired of running from God. I'm going to start being obedient. But I didn't say anything. I just locked it in the back of my head and said, after the conversation, I'm going to ask her about that, right? And so I just locked it in. And then once she hit on this, I knew what was up. So when she said that I was going to be having twin boys, I was like, girl, I'm 44 years old. You talking about I'm be carrying twins? And I started laughing. It was funny. And so she said yes. And she said, I'm going to rub your stomach and I'm going to say, I told y'all, mama, that she was going to have y'all, and proceeded to go on with the story. And so I said, well, Jasmine, I had baby fever a while ago, but I don't got it no more. I'm good. I'm straight, right? She said, well, you manifested on it too long. She said, yeah, you done manifested on it too long, so now you're going to get what you want. Or what you wanted, right? And I said, what? She said, yeah, you done thought about it, you done lived in it, you done soaked in it, you manifested it, right? And I said, what? And this was September last year when I was having baby fever, September 2023. Okay, and so when she said that, I said, well, Do you know why, Jasmine, I had baby fever? And this girl told me something I did not think she was going to say. She said, you had baby fever. You wanted a baby so you can do it right because you feel like you failed. And she started crying. And I started wailing. And my mouth was to the floor, and I looked at her and I said, Jasmine, do you know you a prophet? And she said all her life, her daddy used to speak over people's lives. She hated it. She would be so embarrassed to the point she would walk away pouting with her arms folded because she was so embarrassed and she didn't like it at all. She said all her life, God has been speaking over people's lives to her to speak to them, but she would rebuke and run because she didn't like when her daddy did it. She said 3 years, January the 27th, made 3 years that she started speaking over people's lives, right? And so now, when she said that, now everything is making sense to me because, Lord, you had to send someone because you know I don't move like that. I don't let people have access to me like that. I always say it's a process and a privilege to be in my presence because it is. So he knew I wasn't going to be openly having discussions and conversations with strangers and just giving anybody a chance. He had to send Jasmine, I feel, for me to open my eyes. Whatever he had in the making, that I would approach it with grace instead of running it away, if that makes sense. Everything's just started making sense. May the 27th, I'm streaming on a platform that I've been streaming on for years. And this dude, it was someone in my box, right? And we was conversating and we was talking about height. Second person joined my box. And he was trying to convince me that he was short, and I could tell by his statue that he wasn't because my daddy was 6'2", and I have dealt with tall men. I have had tall boyfriends. And so when he was trying to convince me that he was short, I was looking at him and saying, no, you're not. You lying. You lying. You're lying. No, you're not. You're lying, right? And so he finally told me how tall he was. Now, mind you, Jasmine had told me this person was going to be everything I wanted. I am very much attracted to tall men. Always have been and probably always will be. My daddy was 6'2", and if you ever heard you're attracted to your parents, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. When she told me he was going to be everything that I wanted, and this dude told me he was 6'5", and when I tell you, me and him connected in the chemistry instantly. And from that day on, we talked every day, all night, slept on the phone, and now we're getting to know each other. And now that we're talking all day, all night, sleeping on the phone, getting to know each other, feelings are starting to occur. Now feelings are involved. We're talking about marriage. We came up with a wedding date. He has FaceTimed me with family members while going to family reunion to Florida, around cousin, around friends, introducing me via FaceTime, talking to his mama, and got his mother's phone number, call her whenever I like, introduced me to his sister via FaceTime. 50 people a piece at the wedding. He write his 25 people out on the list before I do, and then I eventually get to mine, but I don't really tell nobody I'm getting married because I had a disappointment years ago, which would be another story time, and yeah, I just want to make sure everything gravy before I just start yelling out I'm getting married. So I kind of kept it on the low. Besides my children, I didn't tell anyone. And so, I mean, you can tell me this was not my soulmate, my twin flame. We had so many similarities, personalities, very much similar. What we both say, fell in love pretty fast. Everything was intentional because we fell in love so fast, and it was different because I have never had a man express himself to me in that manner on that level before in my life. Because I had never had that on that level, it was just different. The feelings was thick, and it was just a different type of, it was just different. And so by it being so different and me having trust issues all in my life because what I have been through, I had finally, for once, because all of my life a person had to earn my trust, but for once this time, because it was so different, I gave my trust to this person and let him know that he can only deplete it, he can only mess it up, he can only take it away. And then another thing is, I was going to move to Jacksonville, to my home. Because I have endured so much trauma in my hometown, I thought it was appropriate. I thought it would do me some good. I feel like in a new place, in a new environment, I can flourish in another place, in a fresh place, in a you know, having a fresh start. So yes, that's the only reason why I told him I'll move to Atlanta and him not move to Jacksonville. And so by me always saying, oh, this was my first time moving out of town, not even for myself, right? Because it was different. And technically I hadn't been in a relationship since 2018. By it being so different, I gave him my trust. By it being so different, I packed up my life and moved everything except what was in my storage unit. And I felt like I was in all state hands, because if I didn't, I wouldn't have never left from the beginning. And because I don't move that way and in that manner and so fast, because there's so much stuff going on in the world, you had to know that me moving from Jacksonville to Atlanta, Georgia, the intentions were, just say I had the purest intentions. I knew and I know exactly what I wanted and what I want. And in 44 years, I've never moved away from home. I could have lived in Hawaii with an ex high school boyfriend I had, who's in the military, who raising Hawaiian babies up there without a mother in the house, you know, and I declined then. But with that, my intentions were the purest. I went with pure intentions. I went because I was in love. I went because I thought this was my person. I went because I thought this was my soulmate. I never in my life felt anyone I have had a relationship with being my soulmate. I never had that. So when I picked up my life and moved to Atlanta, Georgia, even though it's just 5 hours away, I did it with pure intentions. I did it because I know what I want. I did it because I could see what I thought was my future. Not only that, when Jasmine said he was going to be everything I want, down to the sound of his voice, his height, how affectionate he was with me, and the way he was affectionate with me, how he would pick me up, and I would always ask any guy I was about to be in a relationship with, can you pick me up? That'd be like one of the first questions I asked, can you pick me up? Without me asking, like the first time he saw me, he picked me up. And then the second time he visited me, he came in picking me up, kissing me, caressing me. It was like everything I wanted, everything I wanted. So now I'm gonna put in a clip and show you how happy I was on my way to Atlanta, on the trip to Atlanta, on my move to Atlanta. Just look at my eyes and you can see, just look at my eyes. You can see how happy I was and how genuine it was, and how you could just see the joy in my, you could just see the joy in my face. You could see it in my eyes. You can definitely see it was in my heart. You could definitely see that. Just pay attention.